1.4 All the world's a stage. Warming up. Question number 1. Pair work. Talk to your friend about all the things related to 7. For example, 7 wonders of the world. Pair up with your partner and name those given below, all of the under. The 7 wonders of the world. The Great Wall of China, Christ the Redeemer statue, Machu Picchu, Chichen Itza, the Roman Colosseum, the Taj Mahal, and Petra. The 7 continents, Asia, Europe, Australia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica. The 7 colors of the rainbow, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. The 7 notes of the musical scale, Sarigama Padanisa. The 7 seas of the world, Arctic Ocean, Antarctic Ocean, North Atlantic Ocean, South Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, North Pacific Ocean, South Pacific Ocean. Life is often compared to many things. Write down 7 things that life can be compared to and justify the comparison. For example, life is a keyboard. If you press the right keys, you have typed a good destiny. Life is a river always flowing. Life is like a seed. It will never grow unless planted, nourished, and nurtured. Life is like an elevator with lots of ups and downs. Life is like an onion. You peel off layer after layer. Sometimes it makes you weep. Life is like a jigsaw puzzle. You have all the pieces, but you have to put them together correctly. Life is like a jack in the box. You never know when you are going to get a box on your chin. Match the approximate ages with the sages. Match the approximate ages with the stages. Age group, stages. Birth to 2 years. Infancy. Babyhood or infancy. 3 to 12 years. Childhood. 13 years to 17 years. Teenage. 18 years to about 44 years. Adulthood. About 45 years to 60 years. Middle age. 65 years up to 75 to 80 years. Senior citizen or elderly person. Above 80 years. Old age, second childhood. All the world's a stage. This poem was written by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare is often called England's national poet. This poem is taken from his play As You Like It. The poet compares the world to a stage and human life to 7 acts or 7 ages, each having its own varied qualities and features. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have exits and their entrances. and one man in his time plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and pucking in the nurse's arms, then the whining schoolboy with its satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail, unwillingly to school, and then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow, then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like a pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth, and then the justice, in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise sauce and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful horse, well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank and his big manly voice, turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his song. Last scene of all that ends the strange eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Written by William Shakespeare. Here players means actors. Pucking means throwing up or vomiting. Satchel means school bag. Woeful ballad means sad poem or song. Pard means poetical short form of leopard. Poetical short form of leopard. Cannon's mouth means facing great danger to life. With good capon lined means with excess fat from careless eating habits. Sauce means sayings. Youthful horse means close-fitting covering for legs. Shank means legs, knee to ankle. Treble means 3 times weaker than. Here treble means 3 times weaker than. Second childishness means a return to the helpless, ignorant state of a child. Oblivion means the state of being unaware or unconscious of surroundings and happenings. Sans means without. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. The poet says that the whole world is a stage, and all the men and women in it are merely actors. They have their exits and their entrances, that is, they are born and they die. A man plays many different parts, each actor playing 7 roles during his life. The first stage is of an infant crying and throwing up in his nurse's arms. The second stage is that of a schoolboy complaining and crying. He goes to school early in the morning with a shining face. He carries his school bag and creeps slowly like a snail. He is unwilling to go to school. The third act is that of a lover who is breathless and sighing like a furnace with passion. He sings sad songs to the beauty of his lover. The fourth stage is that of a soldier. He is bearded like a leopard and full of oaths. He is jealous where his honor is concerned and is quick to quarrel. He is ambitious. He does useless things for his reputation, even endangering his life for it. The fifth role is that of a mature middle-aged man with a round belly. He is stern and formal and full of wisdom. He is keen on justice and has opinions on bribery, a system which was prevalent at that time. He is full of wise sayings. He gives modern examples. In the sixth stage, man has become old with thin legs in slippers and he is wearing loose pants. He has spectacles on his nose and a pouch by his side. The close-fitting stockings which he had saved from his younger days are now too big for his thin legs which have shrunk with age. His loud voice, which was once manly, has now become childish and shrill. There are whistling sounds when he is talking. The last stage of all, which ends this eventful life, is when man becomes senile and enters his second childhood. He is unaware of what is happening around him. This final stage is when he is without teeth, without vision, without taste, and without anything. What do exits and entrances refer to? Exits and entrances refer to deaths and births. Now, so next question. Why is reputation like a bubble? Reputation is like a bubble because one does useless things for one's reputation which can burst like a bubble in one instant. Reputation is like a bubble because one does useless things for one's reputation which can burst like a bubble in one instant. What is the major difference noticed in the fifth and sixth stage of life? The fifth stage is that of a mature middle-aged man with a round belly. He is stern and formal and full of wisdom. He is keen on justice. In the sixth stage, man has become old with thin legs in slippers and loose pants. He has spectacles on his nose and a pouch by his side. The close-fitting stockings which he had saved from his younger days are now too big for his thin legs. His loud voice, which was once manly, has now become childish and shrill. There are whistling sounds when he talks. I am repeating this answer. The fifth stage is that of a mature middle-aged man with a round belly. He is stern and formal and full of wisdom. He is keen on justice. In the sixth stage, man has become old with thin legs in slippers and loose pants. He has spectacles on his nose and a pouch by his side. The close-fitting stockings, which he had saved from his younger days, are now too big for his thin legs. His loud voice, which was once manly, has now become childish and shrill. There are whistling sounds when he talks. English workshop. Read the words in the given clouds. Match them with what they signify. Stage is matched with life. Characters should be matched with roles played by human beings. Script will be matched with story of life. Dialogues should be matched with conversation. Entry will be matched with birth. Exit will be matched with death. Read the poem carefully and complete the following table. Ages of man. Role and qualities and actions. Stages of man. Ages of man means stages of man. So the first one, first stage. Role, infant. Here you write infant. Qualities or actions. First quality will be frightened. Second one, crying. Now, coming to the second stage of life of a man, the role is schoolboy. And qualities or actions, you can write unhappy. You can write creeping unwillingly to school. Third stage is of a lover. Here you write lover. The first quality will be woeful. W-O-E-F-U-L. And second one will be singing sad ballads. Qualities or actions you can write. So you can write singing sad ballads. Now fourth one, role soldier. You can write ambitious, and for the second one you can write facing danger, or you can write quarreling. For the fifth stage, under role you can write adult man. Here for qualities or actions you can write fat, serious and wise. For actions you can write giving advice. Now, sixth stage, middle-aged man. Thin and shrunken. For the second one you can write talking in a shrill voice. Now, for the seventh stage, very old man. For the first one, you can write childlike. For the second point, you can write oblivious to his surroundings. Write down in your own words the differences between the following stages of a man's life. Second stage and fourth stage. The second stage is that of a schoolboy complaining and crying. He goes to school early in the morning. Once again I am repeating. The second stage is that of a schoolboy complaining and crying. He goes to school early in the morning with a shining face. He carries his school bag and creeps slowly like a snail, unwilling to go to school. Once again I am repeating. The second stage is that of a schoolboy complaining and crying. He goes to school early in the morning with a shining face. He carries his school bag and creeps slowly like a snail, unwilling to go to school. The fourth stage is that of an aggressive soldier, bearded like a leopard and full of oaths. The fourth stage is that of an aggressive soldier, bearded like a leopard and full of oaths. He is jealous where his honor is concerned and is quick to quarrel. He is jealous where his honor is concerned and is quick to quarrel. He is ambitious and does useless things for his reputation. He is ambitious and does useless things for his reputation. Now coming to the next question, third stage and fifth stage. Answer will be, the third stage is that of a lover who is breathless and sighing with passion. He sings sad songs to the beauty of his lover. You can also write like this. The third stage is that of a lover who sings sad songs to the beauty of his lover. The third stage is that of a lover who sings sad songs to the beauty of his lover. The fifth stage is that of a mature middle-aged man with a round belly. He is stern and formal and also full of wisdom. He is keen on justice. The fifth stage is that of a mature, middle-aged man with a round belly. He is stern and formal and full of wisdom. He is keen on justice. Coming to the next one. First stage and seventh stage. That seventh stage is the last stage. Answer. The first stage is that of an infant crying weakly and throwing up in his nurse's arms. The first stage is that of an infant crying and throwing up in his nurse's arms. He is unaware of what is happening around him. He is unaware of what is happening around him. The baby at this stage is without teeth, vision, and taste. The first stage is that of an infant crying and throwing up in his nurse's arms. He is unaware of what is happening around him. The baby at this stage is without teeth, vision, taste, and without anything. The last stage of all, which ends this eventful life, is when man becomes senile and enters his second childhood. So in the last stage, the man enters into his second childhood. In the last stage, the man enters his second childhood. He is again unaware of what is happening around him. He is again unaware of what is happening around him. This final stage is when he is once more without teeth, vision, taste, and without anything. This final stage is when he is once more without teeth, vision, taste, and without anything. Pick out the lines that contain imagery. Imagery means a picture created in mind by using words of the following people. The first one is schoolboy. That is the second stage of man. Answer will be the whining schoolboy with his satchel, S-A-T-C-H-E-L. Satchel means bag. And shining morning face, creeping like a snail, unwillingly to school. Once again I repeat, the whining schoolboy with its satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail, unwillingly to school. Now second one, soldier, that is the fourth stage of man. Answer will be full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel. Once again I repeat, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel. Now coming to the third one, the judge, that is the fifth stage of man. Answer will be in fair round belly with good capon, lined with eyes severe and beard of formal cut. Once again I repeat, in fair round belly with good capon, lined with eyes severe and beard of formal cut. Now next is senior citizen, that is the sixth stage of man. Here there are two sentences. First one will be, his youthful horse well saved a world too wide. And the second sentence will be, for his shrunk shank. The first sentence will be, his youthful horse well saved a world too wide. And second sentence will be, for his shrunk shank. See the fifth one. You will notice that there is no rhyme scheme in the poem. It appears similar to the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear by Tagore. However, Tagore's poem has no steady rhythm. Either it is called free verse. Shakespeare uses lines with a steady rhythm of 5 beats in it. It is termed as blank verse. No rhyme scheme. So there is no rhyme scheme in this poem, but uniformity in rhythm. But there is a rhythm, uniform rhythm. Copy the lines from and all the men and women merely players to sudden and quick in quarrel. Put a stress mark on each of the syllables stressed in the lines as, for example, and all the men and women merely players. Wherever we are stressing, when you are reading, you have to put the stress mark. Here it is put. You can see the stress mark, how it is put. All, so because you are stressing this. All. So we are stressing A. So put a stress mark above it. All the men. So you are stressing M. And women. W is stressed. Merely. M is stressed. Players. P is stressed. Think and write on your own. So the next question is, what is the theme, central idea of this poem? The theme of this poem is the cycle of life. Please take the notes. The theme of this poem is the cycle of life. It tells us how one starts out an infant, helpless and without understanding, and ends the same way without being aware of what is happening around one. It tells us how one starts out as an infant, helpless and without understanding, and ends the same way without being aware of what is happening around one. The theme of this poem is the cycle of life. It tells us how one starts out as an infant, helpless and without understanding, and ends the same way without being aware of what is happening around one. Coming to the next question. Which two stages of man describe as Shakespeare sound humorous? Say why. The second and third stages are humorous. The second and third stages are humorous. One can just imagine the schoolboy complaining and whining, creeping to school slowly with a shining face. Once again I repeat, the second and third stages are humorous. One can just imagine the schoolboy complaining and whining, creeping to school slowly with a shining face. The third stage, where the lover sighs loudly and sings sad poems and songs, is also humorous. The third stage, where the lover sighs loudly and sings sad poems and songs, is also humorous. Coming to the next question. The last, seventh stage of life sounds very sad and miserable. How can you make old age also cheerful and happy? The answer is, we can make the last stage joyful by preparing for it beforehand. We must maintain good health and keep good relations with our family and the people around us. We must save enough money to get us through this stage without any stress on ourselves or others. Once again, I repeat, we can make the last stage joyful by preparing for it beforehand. We must maintain good health and keep good relations with our family and the people around us. We must save enough money to get us through this stage without any stress on ourselves or others. Once again, I repeat, we can make the last stage joyful by preparing for it beforehand. We must maintain good health and keep good relations with our family and the people around us. We must maintain good health and keep good relations with our family and the people around us. We must save enough money to get us through this stage without any stress on ourselves or others. We must save enough money to get us through this stage without any stress on ourselves or others. Now coming to the next question. The poem is entirely metaphorical. Pick out the comparisons from the poem. Now, world is implicitly compared to the stage. So here you'll write stage. Second one, actors are implicitly compared to players. Birth and death is implicitly compared to entrance and exit. Right here, entrance and exit. For the next one, schoolboy, you can write a snail. Now for the next one, the lover's sigh, you can write a furnace. Spotted leopard, you can write bearded soldier. Last stage, old age, you can write last scene. Pick out from the poem 2 examples of each. First one is simile. For simile, 2 dissimilar objects are compared using the word like. 2 dissimilar objects are compared using the word like. So here you will be picking up from the poem creeping like a snail. Here for the first one you will write creeping like a snail. For the second one you will write soldier bearded like the pard. Soldier bearded like the pard. Now see the next one, onomatopoeia. Here there is a spelling mistake. After P you will get the letter O also. Right here P-O-E-I-A. Now you can write and then the whining schoolboy. Whining is the sound. For the second one you can write sighing like a furnace. Sighing, whining, all these are sounds. You can write here for the first one and then the whining schoolboy. For the second one you can write sighing like a furnace. S-I-G-H-I-N-G. Sighing like a furnace. Coming to the next one, alliteration. Here repetition of the sound of letters will be coming. So then you can pick it as alliteration. For the first one you will have they have their exits and their entrances. The sound of the letter E is there. E and E. Exits is containing E and entrances is containing E. Repetition of the sound of the letter E is there. They have their exits and their entrances. Now see the second one. His youthful horse well saved a world too wide. World too wide. World is containing letter W. Wide is containing letter W. Even well saved is containing letter W. Repetition of the sound of letter W is there. So it is alliteration. His youthful horse well saved a world too wide. Now see metaphor. Implicit comparison between 2 different things. Implicit comparison between 2 different things. So for the first one you can pick up the line. They have their exits and their entrances. They have their exits and their entrances. Now for the second one you can write men and women merely players. Men and women merely players. Men and women merely players. Now see the next one, inversion. The sentence is not in correct order. See, for the first one you can take his acts being 7 ages. His acts being 7 ages. For the second one we can pick up with eyes severe and beard of formal cut. With eyes severe and beard of formal cut. With eyes severe and beard of formal cut. Now next is transferred epithet. First one will be with a woeful ballad. With a woeful ballad. Woeful, W-O-E-F-U-L. Ballad, B-A-L-L-A-D. With a woeful ballad. It is not the ballad that is woeful but the lover. So it is transferred epithet. It is not the ballad that is woeful but the lover. So it is called transferred epithet. Now see the second one, second example. You can pick up from the poem. Into the lean and slippered pantaloon. Into the lean and slippered pantaloon. Into the lean and slippered pantaloon. Slippered pantaloon means thin legs in slippers and baggy pants. Old people wear such pants. Now, coming to the next one. Read the summary of the play as you like it by William Shakespeare using the internet. Find out which character has narrated the above poem and on what occasion. Also make a list of the characters of the play. This is the homework. Now see the next one. Read the poem again and write an appreciation of the poem in a paragraph format. When you write the appreciation of poem, first you have to mention the title or something about the title of the poem. Then you have to write about the poet. Then you have to write the rhyme scheme. If there is rhyme scheme, you have to write. If there is no rhyme scheme, you have to write there is no rhyme scheme. Then you have to write about the figures of speech. Then you have to write about the theme or the central idea of the poem. So now the question will be like this. Read the poem and write an appreciation of the poem in a paragraph format. So you write it in one paragraph. So I am giving the answers. Take it down. The poem All the World's a Stage. The poem All the World's a Stage was written by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare. S-H-A-K-E-S-P-E-A-R-E. The poem is written in blank verse. The poem is written in blank verse. V-E-R-S-E. V-E-R-S-E. That is, there is no rhyme scheme. That is, there is no rhyme scheme. I repeat. The poem is written in blank verse. That is, there is no rhyme scheme. But there is a steady rhythm of 5 beats in each line. But there is a steady rhythm, R-H-Y-T-H-M. But there is a steady rhythm of 5 beats in each line. But there is a steady rhythm of 5 beats, B-E-A-T-S, in each line. There are many figures of speech like simile, alliteration and repetition. But the one that stands out is metaphor. There are many figures of speech like simile, alliteration and repetition, but the one that stands out is metaphor. The special feature of this poem is the imagery. The special feature of this poem is the imagery. Many of the lines create a picture. Before our eyes, and help us to imagine the 7 stages in man's life. Many of the lines create a picture before our eyes and help us to imagine the 7 stages in man's life. In this poem, the poet compares life to a stage. In this poem, the poet compares life to a stage. He has divided life into 7 stages. Each having its own varied qualities. The theme of the poem is the cycle of life. The theme of the poem is the cycle of life. It tells us how one starts out as an infant, helpless, without understanding, and ends the same way without being aware of what is happening around one. It tells us how one starts out as an infant, helpless, without understanding, and ends the same way without being aware of what is happening around one. Now name and explain the poetic devices used in the following lines. Some extra questions are given to you. Please write it down. Creeping like a snail. Answer will be simile. 2 dissimilar objects are compared using the word like. You have to give the explanation like this. Creeping like a snail. Answer simile. 2 dissimilar objects are compared using the word like. Second one, soldier bearded like the pard. Simile. 2 dissimilar objects are compared using the word like. Sighing like furnace. Simile. 2 dissimilar words are compared using the word like. Men and women merely players. Answer is metaphor. Implicit comparison between 2 different things. Implicit comparison between 2 different things. They have their exits and their entrances. Answer will be alliteration repetition of the sound of the letters T and E. There is also metaphor here, implicit comparison between two different things. If two figure of speeches are coming, your alliteration and metaphor you have to write. If they are asking anyone, then you have to consider metaphor first. With a woeful ballad, here also we have two figure of speeches. One is alliteration, the other one is transferred epithet. So if alliteration is coming along with another figure of speech, you have to leave alliteration right, transferred epithet. So here alliteration, repetition of the sound W, and also for with the woeful ballad we have transferred epithet. It is not the ballad that is woeful but the lover. Like this you have to write the explanation if the explanation is asked.